Richard Tice was on Sky News today to defend the party's actions against Rupert Lowe. And it's clear from his answers, they only had one thing in mind. During the interview, Trevor Phillips asked a very sensible question for a change, and simply was that these reports were made to the police in December, but it's now just the beginning of March. How come it's taken 4 months for it to come out? And Richard Tice doesn't really answer. He kind of beats around the bush, tries to claim that they're transparent. I mean, how you can be transparent by covering something up for 4 months is some kind of backward logic. But if you actually listen to what he's saying, it's clear they had no intention of releasing that information to the public. But because Rupert Lowe openly attacked Nigel Farage, all the gloves are off. This is also backed up with Nigel Farage's own words. He wrote an opinion piece in the Telegraph, which first came under this headline, but I'm assuming after the events happened, it was quickly changed to this headline. In it, he talks about an altercation between Rupert Lowe and Mike Cain. Now, I've had a look at the Parliament website, and unfortunately the video cuts off before you can see anything, so we have to take their word for it. Farage goes on to say that they openly didn't say anything about it publicly at the time, and they probably wouldn't have done so now. But I suppose I could be wrong. So have a look at this clip and tell me if you think that they had initially planned to cover it up or if they've actually done the right thing.
A complaint was made to the Metropolitan Police on the 13th of December last year about Mr. Lowe's behaviour. Why is it taking so long for you to do anything about it?
Well, actually, there's been, with regard to the complaint that was made by the chairman, Zia Youssef, actually there's more than one instance, there's 2 threats. But the key thing is this is actually very sad. It's very unfortunate. And
I want to get onto that, but it just seems 3 months is quite a long time for you to realise that you have an undesirable in your midst.
There's been a variety of instances, and you have to make difficult judgments through the process. But of course it's unfortunate, of course it's difficult. But there are these allegations of bullying by 2 separate female members of staff to the parliamentary authorities. Those clearly have to be dealt with in the proper, responsible way. We've also got a duty of care as a party, whether people are employed directly or indirectly. So that's why the chairman has instructed an independent investigation by a KC. That's the right and proper thing to do. Imagine if we hadn't been open and transparent about this. Imagine if we tried to brush it under the carpet and in some way cover it up. And then it came out at a future time. Everybody would have been raging at us.
Well, I don't have to use my imagination. I'm sorry to go on about this, but I do want to ask you about the timing. To people who are cynical, I mean, as you know, I'm not, but someone cynical might say, gosh, nothing happened to this guy until he publicly made a fuss and made disparaging remarks about Nigel Farage, and then within 24 hours he was toast.
But actually,
this is political.
And I'm happy to clarify that. As I say, there was an additional threat that was made about the chairman, Zia Youssef, and you get to a point where you can't tolerate this anymore. And it's really unfortunate, but ultimately, Rupert had been doing some great work on a variety of important issues. But ultimately, if you can't work with someone, if a situation becomes impossible, which regrettably, in our honest opinion, is where it had got to, then you have to say, this is not going to end well. And so we made the right judgment, and Zia and Nigel are doing a brilliant job. They're driving the party forward at incredible pace.
More time. It does feel a bit fishy, doesn't it? That actually, the moment he clashes with Nigel Farage, nothing's happened until now, and the moment he clashes with Nigel Farage, suddenly he's disciplined. I mean, let me finish. Your party has made a big deal of your being defenders of free speech. This all feels a bit Putin-esque, doesn't it?
Far from it, and that's completely inappropriate. The reality is, behind the scenes, there had been a number of difficulties and challenges, and you get to the point where you say enough's enough, and particularly when you get these allegations of bullying by female staff, and you then get to the point where you've got to launch an investigation.
In the video that's on screen now, you can see the moment it happened with the initial report to the police and Rupert Lowe's very lengthy response on Twitter. So watch that next. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.